Hi guys, or welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. It is Sunshine the Renna, and today it is Vlogmas day number 5, and we are wrapping up all of the books that I read in November. So guys, yes, November, been and gone. I'm in full Christmas mode. In case you didn't know, I am posting a video every single day in up until Christmas. I was going to say every day in December, that's not happening guys. Up until Christmas, and today I'm going to be wrapping up all the books I read in November, and honestly I'm pleasantly surprised at the amount of books I read in November, because at one point there towards the end and the start of December I just didn't have that good reading feeling. I was sort of slumping a little bit, so I am pretty surprised to tell you that I actually read 10 books in total. Really surprised. And actually I didn't physically read any. They're mainly ebooks, and there might have been a couple of audiobooks in there as well, so it turned out to be a pretty good month. I didn't think it was a good reading month, but you know, we can surprise ourselves, can't we guys? So in November there was Believeathon, so I did read a few books for that, and they were in my TBR video. The first one that I picked up for that was The Story of Tracy Beaker by Jacqueline Wilson, and this was like a throwback to my childhood, you know, a classic. I really enjoyed this. I wouldn't say it was one of my favourite Jacqueline Wilson ones, but the TV series definitely, you know, brought it more alive. So if you don't know, this is a middle grade, which is what. And also, if you didn't know, Believeathon is a middle grade readathon that happened in November. I should have mentioned that. But yes, so it's a middle grade book, and it's set in the UK, and it's set in a children's home. Our main character is Tracy, and she, you know, her mum isn't around. She's living in this children's home, and it's this kind of her story basically, from her perspective. So the social worker encourages the kids to like kind of keep a diary, write a bit about their self and their story. So we're getting Tracy's story from her point of view, how she sees her relationship with her mum, how things are going with that, what she imagines her mum's actually doing, and I suppose it's just her way of viewing the world. And yes, she does come across to adults as a very you know, misbehaved child, you know, a bit of a troublemaker, but when you're reading from her perspective, you just see why those things happen. So yes, I think it's really good, it's fun, and yes, there is a whole series actually, which I didn't remember, that there was a whole kind of book series. I knew that there was a second one, but yeah, there's more than that. And yeah, the TV show was great. So I ended up giving this one a 3-star. I should have mentioned that before. So yeah, it was fun and a great way to kick off November. Then I picked up Skipping Christmas by John Grisham, and this, in case you didn't realise, it is a Christmas book. I didn't find out until I started reading it that actually this is the plot for Christmas with the Cranks. That was how it was adapted, which I still have to watch that film. I keep saying I'm going to watch it. We're in December, I'm watching a ton of Christmas films, so I should pick that up, watch that. So yeah, so if you've seen Christmas with the Cranks, that's the story. So basically there is this couple, they have a grown-up daughter, and she is the start of December, end of November, I can't remember exactly when, she ends up moving to South America. I can't remember which country it was, and she's going to be a volunteer for a year. She's not going to be around for Christmas. So they decide, rather than spending all that money on Christmas, which the figure they had in that book was $6,000, which really like shocked me. Like, who spends that kind of money on Christmas? Because that's a lot of money. And you see all the different things why it adds up to that, but I thought it was a lot of money. But anyway, they work out that they could actually, rather than have Christmas and all of the extra trimmings, etc., everything that's associated with the holiday period, if they don't do any of that, they could go on a cruise, which honestly, don't blame them. You know, in the sun, yeah, great. Don't blame them for having this dream of doing that. And it's following the story of them trying to skip Christmas and how that all pans out. It was really fun, enjoyable. I loved how the other characters as well, the neighbours, how everyone takes the fact that they're skipping Christmas. Like, it just doesn't, people just can't believe, like, why are you skipping Christmas? And yeah, that was really fun, cute story. Enjoyed it. It was my first Christmas book of the season, and I gave it a 3.5, guys. Then I picked up Passing by Nella Larson. Now I picked this up because Netflix adapted this into a film. And Netflix has also started a Netflix book club, and this was the first pick, and I thought, yes, great, why don't I read it, watch it, and then watch their video. And yeah, they had a video with the cast, and there was like, they were discussing it and the adaptation, and so you found out like little bits and pieces, which I thought that was really good and fun. I need to check, I don't know what the next book is, but I need to check what that is. But anyway, this is a classic. It's actually quite a short classic. It was around 120 pages, and it takes place in the 1920s. So it follows these two women on both sides of the colour line. We have Irene, and then we also have Claire. They have an encounter where they're actually both in a situation where they're passing for white, and they end up meeting. They knew each other years before when they were growing up, and they end up meeting. Irene actually is just passing for this like one afternoon because she wanted to stop and get a tea. That isn't how she leads her life. It was just this one time kind of situation. Whereas Claire actually lives her life passing as for a white woman. So it follows the stories of these two characters on both sides of the colour line. All the different implications of that, how Claire's life is, she's married, etc. And yes, I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to give anything away, but it is a really great book. I listened to this in audiobook actually. Now, usually for classics, I physically read it and I might have an audiobook at the same time, but I never solely exclusively listen to the audiobook. But I did this, and honestly, it is so accessible. If you are worried about classics being too heavy, maybe find it difficult to get through the writing style, I definitely recommend this one. It's very accessible. And yes, I don't want to say too much else. It is really good. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, brilliantly written, brilliant plot. And yes, it offers this great portrait of how these two women are living on the colour line in New York in the 1920s. And yeah, and what that means for each of them. And yes, I gave this a 3.5. It's really great, and I recommend. I then read Double Act by Jacqueline Wilson. Again, it was picking up for Believeathon. Yes, again, a middle grade. In this one, there's two twins. There's Ruby and Garnet. They live with their dad and their gran. Their mother's passed away, which is why they're living with the gran. And their dad ends up meeting a woman and wants to like move in with her and move away and start this whole other life with the girls in tow. The girls obviously don't like this. They don't like this idea. It's something they're struggling with. And it's kind of what happened for the girls and them being in the situation. And yeah, I don't want to say too much else because I don't want to ruin it, but I think it's really well done. And I've said this before in like other videos, but Jacqueline Wilson really is really great at taking tough topics and writing them in a way that is good for children. Yes, and to help them understand difficult situations, and if you're not in that situation yourself, you can learn about it. Not everyone has the same family situation, and again with Double Act, it's a very different family situation because they'd lost their mother, lived with their dad, and his dad, you know, finds a girlfriend and what that means for them. So yes, really great. Again, it was a 3-star for me. Then I'm gonna put this cup of tea down because my it's hurting my wrist, guys. Then I picked up the Honjin Murders, and that is by Seishi Yokomizo. This is translated from Japanese into English. It was only translated a few years ago, but actually it was written in the 1940s. So he is known as like he's basically Japan's Agatha Christie. He is like a well-known famous murder mystery writer in Japan, and like they've adapted his books. Like he's really famous, but for some reason it only in the last few years it's been translated to English, and this is the very first one. And yes, the Honjin Murders is one of his like most famous, most classic one is like the one, you know, it is like And There Were None by Agatha Christie. It is that same kind of level for them. And yes, so it's like I said, it's only just been translated to translated from Japanese into English. I don't know, I'm struggling with my words today, guys, struggling. So yes, this is set in like the 1930s. It is in winter, so it is great vibes for this time of year because there is snow involved, you know. I love the snow, guys. I love the snow. But anyway, it's set in a village and there is a wedding of the son of like this really kind of wealthy family of the village. They have this huge compound. Yeah. So he is getting married. And yes, the family aren't, you know, exactly keen and happy about his choice of bride to be, just because of their status. They think he should be marrying somebody who is a bit higher up in the class system. So yes, then on the night of the wedding, so after they've been married, the whole household is woken up by a scream, followed by the sound of some eerie music, and they all, you know, run out and to the annex, and they end up finding out that the son and the new bride, the wife, have been murdered. And yes, it's a bit of a locked murder mystery type book, because the way it's done, there's no way that the murder could have got out. It seems like an impossible crime to have been committed. Like, how was it done? I really enjoyed this. I love the roundup, how it was described and how it was concluded. I thought it was really, really fun. A great murder mystery. I wish I had actually had the physical book, because there was like a map of the annex and the bits and pieces around, which would have helped to keep referring to as you read into certain bits and pieces. Not that I missed anything. I think it just would have been a little bit of a better reading experience for me. But I gave it a 3.5. And then I read And There Were None by Agatha Christie. And yes, I got this as an ebook from the library. Finally picked up an Agatha Christie. I've been wanting to pick one up for absolute ages. And I decided to go with her most famous one. And guys, first of all, it was a 5-star read for me. I think it's a 5-star murder mystery. It was amazing. And yes, I can see why she is the queen of the murder mystery. So And There Were None is a standalone. There is 10 characters that we have. There are 10 guests who are invited to this private island off the coast of Devon. Their host seems to be some sort of eccentric millionaire who none of them know. They were brought there under different reasons, and they all thought it was a particular person in their lives, but once they get there, they soon work out that it's not who they thought it was, and no one's actually sure of who actually invited them all there. And it's what they soon realise is that the only thing that they have in common is that they have something kind of secret in their past that has happened. Yeah, so one by one they're getting picked off while trying to figure out who the murderer is. And yes, constantly like suspecting different people in this and not trying to work out who is it, because they are on a remote island and you know that the murderer has to be there. So yes, I really liked how well it was done. Kind of kept me guessing till the end, and I did not work out who it was. It was a 5-star murder mystery for me, and I do love good murder mystery. I'm definitely going to be picking up more of Agatha Christie's murder mysteries. If you have recommendations for any ones in particular, I know she has she's famous obviously for her murder mysteries and she has so many, but if there's any in particular that you recommend, please let me know. Then I read a book that it's not for everyone. This book 100% isn't for everyone, so definitely kind of take a moment to think before you pick this up. I did enjoy it, weirdly enough, I did enjoy it. But yes, definitely not for everyone. I read it as part of Chloe Reads Books, Chloe's Crime Scene Corner book club. It was the fiction pick this month, and it was Tender is the Flesh, and it's by Agustina Batsarica. This has been translated from Spanish into English, and yes, it's not too long a book, but first of all, let me just let you know, I gave it like a 4 stars. I think it was really, really well written, but the subject is, yeah. So I'll explain the premise, and then if you haven't heard about this, then you'll get why I'm kind of struggling with my words to kind of explain this book. But basically it is it's a dystopian horror. It's set in a, you know, in a dystopian world from ours. It's a horror book. And in this dystopian world, there's a disease that has made animal meat not consumable for humans. They've tried various different things and they couldn't cure it, so humans can't have animal meat anymore. But we're now at a point, you never find out actually how many years had passed, but it is in the lifetime of our main character that this has all happened. But yes, I'm not entirely sure of how many years it took for them to reach the point, but basically cannibalism is all okay, guys, in this book, in the sense that it is a process. There's like processing plants, etc., and basically they have they don't refer to them as humans, they refer to them as heads, and they're rearing for consumption. Yeah. Which is why I really struggled how to describe my feelings on this book at the start of this. And yes, we follow our main character, Marcos. He works in the processing plant, and he is like, you know, he's really high up in the company. The boss, you know, the owner really entrusts him with a lot of things, but you do get the impression that he is just doing this for a job. He used to work in an actual slaughterhouse, like for animals before, which is how he's ended up in this role. And yes, his wife has left him. His father is like in a home, has like dementia, and he's trying not to basically think about anything too much. He's just making a living, getting on with his life. It appears that this whole leading up to cannibalism happened, the whole process happened quite quickly. There is a transition, but I think the transition's ended at this point in the book. Yes, so they call it special meat in the shops. Like I said, they don't refer to them humans, they refer them to heads, and then they refer to it as special meat. One day he's given a gift, and it's a specimen, a live head that he gets given of a great quality in terms of how their system works. And yes, I don't want to say anything more than there, but it's got to do with him, this head, this specimen he's been given, and just kind of this world he's in where cannibalism is a thing. I can't really say much more without giving anything away, but like I said, this definitely isn't for everyone, so do take a moment to think about it. And also, trigger warning, well, you know, obviously from the premise you can tell there's trigger warnings for quite a few things, but also trigger warning for animal cruelty as well. But yes, 4 stars because it was just so well written. Like I can't deny how well written it was, but it couldn't be a 5 star for me because, yeah, I wasn't overly comfortable with that topic, you know. But I'm glad that Chloe chose it as one of her books, and it was definitely one that was really good to discuss with other people. So yes, that was really, really great. I then read Red, White and Whole by Rajani LaRocca. This was an audiobook. It was a middle grade, and this was the last middle grade I read for Believeathon, and this was a 2021 release. It was quite a short audiobook. I really enjoyed it on audiobook, and it was really interesting to read a middle grade written now, to see how things have changed in the genre and how it's moved on since I was that age. Like I said, I'd been reading Jacqueline Wilson, so it was quite interesting, yeah, to see one that had been written now, since, you know, I don't read middle grade, but it was a really nice experience. In this one, again, tough topics are covered in it. So we follow our main character Reha. She is torn between 2 worlds. Her school, where she is the only Indian American student, and at home where, you know, her family have their traditions and holidays. Her parents are Indian and she is first generation Indian American. She's in these 2 worlds, push and pull of like her American world and then the world of her parents and their traditions, holidays and everything they've brought from India. So she's got these 2 very different worlds and competing priorities, and how she wants to be these 2 different things. But yes, Reha's parents don't really understand, you know, why, you know, she's conflicted between these things. And they have certain expectations for her and how she behaves, how she dresses, and all of that. And yeah, so I mean, at times, you know, the start that you feel like there's a little bit of tension in the relationship between her and her parents, because, you know, she wants to be American. And there's a little bit of tension there, but then in the story, Reha finds out that her mum is sick, like really, really sick, and it is the story of her mother's illness, how she deals with that, how she copes with it. She dreams of becoming a doctor herself one day, and even though she can't really stomach the sight of blood, she is determined to make sure that her mother gets well again, and she'll be the perfect daughter if it means she can save her mother's life. It is a really, really good book. Like I said, covers tough topics, but in a really good way, and yes, I really enjoyed it. I then picked up The Lost Daughter by Elena Ferrante. So I finished the Neapolitan Quartet this year. See, I have them here. I absolutely love Elena Ferrante's writing, so I knew that I wanted to read more of her works. So The Lost Daughter, it has been adapted into a film. It's coming out on Netflix now in December. I can't remember what date. I think it's the 31st. I want to say the 31st of December that it comes out. And yes, so this one is quite a short one. It was like 150 pages. In this one, we follow Leda. She is a middle-aged woman. She is divorced, and she is alone for the first time in years, because her daughters have left home to live with their father in America. The daughters are grown up. They're in like their early 20s. I think they went for university. To go to university in America, where the father was now living, and yeah, so first time in years she's alone, and she just decides to take a holiday to a beach destination, and it's about her discovering herself, following motherhood, what it means to her. It's her rediscovering herself. It's her looking inwardly at her life, who is she, and yeah, looking back at things that happened in the past as well. Yes, and in this one as well, at the same time, there's a parallel where she ends up interacting with this other family that are there in this place where she goes to the same beach every day, and she ends up having these interactions with this other family, and also how that plays into her looking back at her life as a mother, and how what kind of person she is and how her life is panned out. Can't say much more than that. It's a little bit difficult to explain, but I thought it was really good. Definitely a different outlook of things, and how she was for the first time in years rediscovering herself. Who was she, not being a mother. And yeah, so I gave that one 4 stars, and I enjoyed it again. I had a pretty decent reader month this month. Definitely. I then read The Village of 8 Graves by Seishi Yokomizo. This is actually the 3rd one, and it's only just been translated. Sorry, this is actually the 3rd one in the series by the author. So I've not read the 2nd one. So I read the 1st one, started a month, and then the 3rd one. This has only just been translated into English from Japanese, and I got this as an ARC from NetGalley, and it's only come out now in December. So it's only just been translated. And this one is ever so slightly different, whereas the first one you're following mainly following the detective and looking at the murder mystery and trying to solve it, whereas this you're very much following a character who's in the middle of the murder mystery, and the detective bit comes in the end. So it's a little bit different, which is why I give it three stars. One of the reasons, but I still think it was really well written. It was just a very different murder mystery. So in this one, initially you're given the backstory as to why it's called The Village of 8 Graves, and it's got to do with these samurai warriors who were killed there by inhabitants of the village, and the village was then cursed. And then some centuries later, there is an incident that happens, and again there is a bit of a bloodbath that goes on in the village. And then some years after that, there is a man who ends up coming to the village called Tatasuya, and he is brought there by someone who went looking for him, as he is part of their family. So it's him discovering this family, didn't know the mystery around who his father is, the mystery of his mother. And then things start to happen when he's there in the village, and murders start to begin, and it's all of that mystery and everything that's going on. I don't want to say anything more than that because I don't want to ruin it, but I thought it was a good solid murder mystery, and yeah, it was definitely enjoyable. So that was all of the books that I read in November. I am hoping to have a much better reading month now in December, because like I said, I got a bit slumpy at the end there. But yes, I did enjoy it, and yeah, that's it. So I am posting content every single day up until Christmas, so stick around if you want to see more content from me this month. There's lots and lots of things going on. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!